Just before we begin, I'm gonna give a little ground rules here. First off, if you have any kind of questions, any kind of doubts, anything related to the webinar as we go, please use our Q&A tab that's on the right side panel on the BlueJeans window, just so that we can address those questions at the very end. There's gonna be a QA session. We'll try to cover as many questions as we can, but ultimately we might miss some. And if we do, please use advertiser help at twitter.com so that we can address any of those questions, provide any kind of resources, or if you wanted to just deep dive into your own campaign. So that'll be a resource for you, as we go on. So we'll give it a few more seconds, actually, and then we'll get started. Okay, just take one last sip, and we'll get started. Okay. So first off, we're super excited to talk to you today in this webinar. This is actually our second ever webinar. So we're very excited to have everyone here. First off, my name is Walter Umanzor. I am a Twitter ad specialist. I've been working at Twitter for about a year now, helping different advertisers and agencies just get started with Twitter ads, clear up any kind of questions, help them optimize their campaigns, and then try to get as much progress as they can to reach their advertising goals. So just to be very clear, I'm going to be presenting the first half of the presentation, and then my colleague Parissa is going to be taking over the second half. So it's going to be a two-parter, just to keep in mind. So let's go over today's agenda. So as you probably know the topic, it is how to get the most out of your marketing budget. So this is very useful, and it's also in a 101 environment. What does that mean? Basically, this is going to be a very basic intro into our core products, best practices, and things like that you can get started on today. And so just to go through them one more time, what we're going to be seeing today is going to be Twitter's top secret. That's a big one. 2, core products. 3, best practices. And then we're going to end it with a Q&A session at the very end, as I mentioned before, with all your questions. So what is Twitter's top secret? What is our secret sauce? Twitter's top secret is Twitter's audience. And why is that? It's because the people on Twitter are very unique. They are very expressive. The way they interact with each other is extremely unique. And it's where people lean in, lead the way, and then shape Twitter's culture, but not just Twitter's culture, even the culture off Twitter. And the thing about Twitter's audience is that they have huge implications for your business. Twitter is what's happening in the world and what people are talking about. Twitter is what's happening. Things start on Twitter because people on Twitter aren't passive, they're extremely active. They have opinions, they drive conversations, and they talk about the things that matter the most to them and their communities. So as a brand, you want to connect with these conversations. People on Twitter want to discover and share. They're more likely to share things with people off Twitter and drive conversation than most other social media platforms. And so basically they define communities and they move the needle that drives culture forward. And I mean, you probably know they've demonstrated this in many, many ways. It can be through a meme, it can be through a movement, or it can even be just a conversation about something that's new and noteworthy that's happening in the world. And people just want to express themselves and get the word out on what they feel about those things. But what does that mean for you and your brand? That means connecting with people that are influential. Twitter people are 15% more likely to regularly inform friends and family on new products and services than non-Twitter users. So in other words, word travels extremely fast on Twitter. The first conversations about latest trends and topics usually always happen on Twitter. The thing is that they're not just influential people. They're also a very engaged audience. So people on Twitter spend 26% more time viewing ads on Twitter compared to ads on other leading social media platforms. And so this is the huge key for you and your brand and getting that marketing budget as far as possible. It's basically an opportunity for you as a brand to connect with people's experiences on Twitter and match those with your advertising goals. We've done a ton of research with multiple vendors and know what works. So you have an influential and engaged audience, but what else about this audience makes them special? That is that they are very receptive, and they're at their most receptive when they're on Twitter. Ads on Twitter are 31% more emotionally stimulating compared to ads on other social media platforms. In other words, they seek out cultural moments and want to share them with others. So that basically means that they're more willing to hear from brands and more likely to remember what they heard. So what is the bottom line when it comes to our audience? Twitter connects you with the most valuable audience when they're most receptive. So it doesn't mean just valuable audience, it means that they're more inspired to engage and share with others and your brand's messages. So we've learned about the Twitter audience, how they interact with brands, how they interact with messages, how they express themselves, but how do you as a brand reach them? And that is through our core products. This is literally the best way that our core products are basically the best way for you to reach your audience and reach your advertising goals. So let's get started with the first one, promoted tweets. They're basically your regular normal tweet that you use every day if you're on our platform. It's basically, they can receive replies, they can be shared, they can be retweeted, they can be liked. However, the key difference here is that these are the tweets that you purchase to reach your audience. This is only shown to people that are targeted in your ad campaigns. So the really great thing about them is that they're extremely flexible. In other words, you can use them however you want. You can add a video, you can add an image, you can just use text, you can just literally do whatever you want with the tweet that aligns with your advertising message and just put it out there into the world. So, for example, right here on this slide, you can see it's a promoted video tweet, which is really one of our best. But what ad product should you be using if you want people to go to your website? We highly recommend using our website cards. Basically, a website card is a highly customizable media unit that lets you select a preview image or video, a headline, and a URL, and basically makes the entire card the hyperlink to your website. So please keep in mind, this is an attachment to your tweets. So in other words, you still need to create a tweet, still need to put your ad message, and then you attach this card that has been proven to drive twice as much click-through rate, and basically put that out there so people can go to your website. So let's say I don't want people to go to my website. I want people to download my app. I have a new app. I want it to go huge. I want people to install it. Well, then you should look at our app install products. So basically, similar like a website card, you get to choose an image or video. However, the big difference here is that you'll get an install button at the bottom of the card that lets people directly download your app from the Twitter timeline. Basically, you add your app to our app manager, and this basically links it to the Apple Store or the Android store and lets people download it directly from the timeline. So that's great. I can get my app there. I can get people to my website. But what if I really don't want people to leave Twitter? I want people to talk on Twitter. They want them to talk about your brand. I want them to talk about what I, as a brand, is important to me and our message and who we are. Then I would highly recommend conversational. So conversational cards are really great. I personally really like them. And the reason why is because it's similar to the website card and the app install card. Yes, you can add a compelling image or video. However, the big difference here is that you'll be able to customize the call to action at the bottom and use them with your own hashtags. So basically what you're effectively doing is that you're getting your audience to spread your message and use your hashtags at the same time and spark conversation on Twitter and get people involved. However, it's something to keep in mind with this. This is not enabled by default on your ads accounts. So you'll need to email us at advertiserhelp@twitter.com if you're interested in getting this enabled. So I hope there's been one thing that has caught your eye in the things I've mentioned so far. And it's something that we personally love to talk because it does so well on Twitter, and that is video ads on Twitter. Video ads make your messages memorable, shareable, replay worthy, and they drive the highest recall and emotional connection than on any other digital platform. Like, hands down, this is our most impactful form of ad. So, I mean, as you can see in this slide, video can elevate your ads in ad recall, brand awareness, message association, and then purchase intent. In other words, videos can instantly make your campaign more compelling and attractive on Twitter. So whenever we talk about strategy, how to approach advertising on Twitter, we highly recommend implementing video into your advertising strategy. So what kind of categories does video, what kind of categories does video do well on Twitter? Just to give you an idea, these are the 4 fastest growing categories that have grown most year over year in minutes in the US market. So like, why does it do so well? It's because naturally when you watch a video on Twitter, you usually don't have a way to connect directly with the brand or with the people on the video. However, Twitter does give you that option. And so this is something that your brand can start doing right now if you have video assets. So what's the best way to align your brand with these categories, or with all the other categories that we have, or how to compete with big brands that dominate the video Twitter sphere? Well, you don't really need to compete at all. You can align yourself with their brands using an amplified pre-roll campaign. So what is amplified pre-roll? Sounds like it's a huge word. I didn't even know before, but amplified pre-roll basically means that your video ad gets placed before one of 200 plus publishers that have been proven to be brand safe across 15 categories. So in other words, your video is going to get played before popular videos that big brands are going to post and people are going to watch. So if you feel like your brand can align to these big brands, this is probably the best way to do that. And remember, this is videos that people are already watching. So why not take advantage of that traction and put your ads before them? So finally, here's a showcase of our video ads live on a timeline, for example. We have promoted video, we have video website card, and we have amplified pre-roll. Promoted video basically lets you put your video on the spotlight along with your ad message. Video website card lets you use your videos as a visual attraction to catch people's eye and go to your website. And then finally, amplified pre-roll, as I just explained, lets you put your ad before big brands' videos and basically align your brand with their audience. So I know this is a ton of information that I've gone over. Like, we've learned about our Twitter audience and our best core products. So please definitely use our Q&A tab on the right side for any kind of questions or doubts, or if you just didn't get anything, something wasn't clear and you want us to address it later at the very end of the presentation, please use it and we'll get back to you at the very end of the presentation. Thank you, Walter. I'm going to be passing off the rest of the presentation to my colleague, Parissa, who will go over best practices.
Perfect. Thank you, Walter. All right. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Parissa, and I'll be leading our next section on best practices. My team and I have helped hundreds of advertisers launch successful campaigns this year, and we're so excited to have you. As Walter mentioned, Twitter's audience is engaged, receptive, and highly influential. So how do we hone in on this audience within your campaigns? There are 2 different targeting types, additive and restrictive. Additive will layer onto each other, making your potential campaign size larger, while restrictive targeting will narrow down your campaign size as it needs to fit into each of those categories individually. For example, if you're targeting hashtags and handles around basketball while adding in the geolocation of Florida, only those that live in Florida those that are interested in basketball and only live in Florida will be shown the promoted suite. It's important to use a mixture of additive and restrictive targeting in your campaign to reach your desired audience. That way, you're only paying for engagement from individuals who might have some interest in downloading your content or learning more about your product or service. With all that being said, the top tips around targeting are vary your targeting, align your tweet copy, and play around. What we mean by vary your targeting is to avoid running more than one campaign that targets very similar audiences, as they'll be competing against each other to serve, and you don't want that to happen. Align your tweet copy with your creative. For example, if you have one tweet targeting males and one targeting females, make sure your creative aligns with the different targeting parameters. And play around. One of the most important things you can do to drive continued campaign performance is to understand which audience is the best fit and which message resonates best with the different groups. When your campaign is live, check back frequently to remove low-performing keywords, handles, and interests, and replace them with ones that are similar to the high-performing ones. Now that you know how to target your audience, it's time for the fun part, the creatives, and how you could really capture your audience's attention. Remember, your audience on Twitter is different than they are on other platforms. Be authentic and really showcase your brand. There are 5 keys to successful creatives. Have multiple tweets. We recommend as best practice between 3 to 5, and refresh your campaigns often. Twitter is what's happening, so staying up to date with new, relevant, and fresh content will increase your chances of serving on the platform. If your campaign is not serving as many impressions as you'd like, try swapping out your tweets with fresh ones. Number 2, this is one that I tell our clients all the time. Be transparent and clear. Be clear about what you're offering, what your product is, and what users can gain by engaging with your ad. Have a clear call to action and don't use too many hashtags. Number 3, include rich, engaging media. Try using engaging images and videos for really compelling content. Number 4, ask a question. As we all know, Twitter is a great place for starting conversation. Asking your followers a question in your tweet will help them feel a part of the conversation and can compel them to engage with your ad. Number 5, play to your objective. As Walter discussed, Twitter has a variety of app cards that can and should be used within the relevant campaign objective. For example, app cards for app install campaigns and website cards for website clicks campaigns. Now on to best practices around the bid and the quality score. The bid is the amount you're willing to pay per action based on your objective. There are 3 different bid types: automatic, maximum, and target bid. A question advertisers ask us frequently is, which bid type should we choose? Keep in mind that you should set your bid based on the value you place for each new engagement. Your bid factors into how well your campaign performs, so put thought into how much a user's engagement means to your business. Match your bid to your targeting size. If your campaigns are targeting very specific audiences, you may have to increase your bid in order to serve. For example, advertisers targeting very specific geographic regions like zip codes or cities may need to increase their bid to win the same number of auctions as advertisers targeting less specific audiences, as there are less users in that audience. As I mentioned, you do have a few different options, but we do recommend as best practice to use automatic bid. This will ensure your bid is competitive to win the auction, and it'll auto fit to your campaign budget. With the exception of mobile app campaigns, you can go in and adjust your bid as needed. So you could see how well your campaign is performing, and you could go in and refine how you see best fit. In addition to the bid, keep in mind the 3 factors that make up the quality score: resonance, relevance, and recency. We call this combination your ad score. We call this combination of quality score and bid your ad score, which is what determines who wins the auctions and serves the ads on our platform. These are the questions you should ask yourself. Does the tweet copy make people want to click on it to find out more? Are people engaging with your ad? Does the tweet copy, is it relevant to the audience that you're targeting? Does it align with their interests? And as always, are your tweets fresh? To win auctions and maximize your campaign success, you must have both a good quality score and bid. Now on to our most impactful ad type, video on Twitter. There are over 2 billion video views per day on Twitter, and we've seen a 62% increase in year over year in daily video views and 72% year over year increase in watch time. With that being said, what are the best practices around videos on Twitter? We see the best performing videos with our advertisers are between 6 to 15 seconds, and overall breakthrough is increased by 13% when the message is conveyed within the first 3 seconds. Product and people. Open your video with your product. By displaying your brand for more than half of the video can result in a 25% increase in aided brand recall and a 21% increase in message recall. And show the human connection. When videos show a positive human interaction or human desire for a product, there's a 40% increase in overall response. And I don't know about all of you, but 99% of the time I'm checking Twitter on my cell phone. So having a caption for your videos really will ensure that your message is delivered to mobile viewers, and it could drive a 28% longer view time. If your video is dialogue heavy, consider a sound on approach. And as Walter mentioned, you do have flexibility on how you choose to share your videos, whether it's with video website cards or amplified pre-roll. So you have the option of customizing how you see best fit for your goals. Last but not least are resources. Advertisers and agencies that use our resources have the most success on Twitter ads. The number one reason people come to Twitter is to discover something new. They're looking for new brands, new ideas, and new products to love, and the right strategy can lead them right to you. We recently launched our Getting Started Guide to Twitter Advertising, which goes over launching Twitter ads, your Twitter ads account, and provides you the inside scoop on achieving better results with the latest and greatest ad formats and features. Our agency playbook covers frequently asked questions from agencies and ways to guide your clients towards success. And if you're looking for information on how to build your brand and manage your presence, the Twitter Content Strategy Playbook has it all. In addition to playbooks, we have blog posts, case studies, and one-sheeters for every vertical and product that we discussed earlier today. And as always, one-on-one support with my team and I at Advertiser Help at twitter.com, where we can answer any of your Twitter ads questions. And we really look forward to hearing from you guys. With that being said, I would love to head on over to our question and answer session and answer some of the questions that are being asked right now. Let's get started. All right, the first question, can you reply to a tweet with the Twitter card? Unfortunately, you cannot reply to the tweet using a Twitter website or app card, but you can use other media sources like GIFs, images, and videos in a reply. Is the default cost per 3-second video, or how long does a user need to watch a video for it to be considered a video view? Let me repeat that question. Is the default cost per video a cost per 3-second video, or how long does a user need to watch a video for it to be considered a video view? Okay. On Twitter, a video view is when a watcher watches your video in a 50% view for 2 seconds or more. With our video views campaign objective, you can choose your bid unit and only be charged by one of the following. The 3 options that we offer are per video view, per 3 seconds, or 100% video view per 6 seconds. This is considered an industry standard view. And a 3 seconds out of 100% video view is when your video is viewed at 100% for 3 seconds or more. Lastly, our most recently launched video view bid unit is when a user views your video at 50% view for 6 seconds or more. I know that was a lot of information and numbers, but we have all of this on our website, and if you send us over an email, we can send you over all the information as well. So let's go over to our next question. I would like to understand the differences between the 3 types of video ads on Twitter. The difference between the 3 video ads are the goals they're tied to. For example, the promoted video tweet is tied to your message's campaign's message, or if you simply want to watch your video. The video website card is using your video to attract an audience to click through to your website. And the last video ad that was mentioned was Amplify Pre-roll, which is basically putting your video ad in front of other videos for people to watch. This is all tied to brand awareness. For example, if you're a beauty brand, you can place your ads in front of a larger publisher like Cosmopolitan to ensure that you're getting the traction for your videos. Will we be receiving this deck to share with our team members? And can you share the links to the resources mentioned? Honored that you would like this video. Yes, we will share the video recording with everyone that has attended the webinar. Also, if you need any additional links to any of our resources or products that were mentioned, you can always email advertiserhelp@twitter.com and we'll get back to you. Now on to our next question. Would you use any hashtags in creatives? I want people to click on my link, not a hashtag. Okay, great question. One thing to note about hashtags is that they help you drive for exposure, but not necessarily for engagement. If the goal is to drive people to your landing page, then it's important to keep in mind that you'll only want to have one clickable item so that you're giving the user only one option to an action to take, which is to click your ad so that they can navigate to your website and take conversion later down the line if needed. These clickable action items include handles, hashtags, and additional links. As I mentioned, you don't want to have too many hashtags that take away from what your call to action is, because that will really remove from what your goal is and what you want your followers to take action on. Next question. Is the 6 to 15 second rule the ideal length for pre-roll ads too? Yes, 6 seconds is the sweet spot, leading to highest brand affinity for advertisers. This is the ideal video length because the skip ads button will surface as an option for the users to click after this. And the pre-roll hits after the pre-roll hits 6 seconds. Anything less than 15 seconds also works great. Okay. When it comes to filtering out low performing interests and keywords with those interests and keywords are performing better, is there a concern that this ad might be competing with the ads that are performing well? There isn't a way to determine if some keywords and interests are performing better than others. Your campaign will use your targeting only to determine the audience you're trying to reach. Our campaign's algorithm will automatically push the best performing ad in the campaign. It's for this reason that we always recommend using 3 to 5 creatives for each campaign as best practice. All right. Okay. Next question. What are the best practices around classifying tailored audiences, age, gender, economic status, etc.? I know this would vary campaign to campaign, but it would be nice to know if you've seen some trends. Thank you. If you're referring to tailored audiences, it says TA, but if you are referring to tailored audiences, this can be uploaded to your ads manager either through a list using people's contact information or a pixel tracker installed on your website. There isn't a way exactly to know which information is being used to create your tailored audiences, and that's just for privacy reasons. Most people will upload their newsletters. Most people will upload their tailored audiences. Okay. Why won't my campaign serve? I believe there might be a bug. In that case, so sorry to hear that your campaign isn't serving, but we'd be happy to look into any of your account issues and see what's wrong on our end. And you can email us anytime and we'll go ahead and take a deeper dive and see what's causing the issues. When you say keep your tweets fresh, how fresh does that mean? Should I be updating my copy once a week or more regularly than that? Great question. Since Twitter is what's happening now, we highly recommend refreshing your tweets every 1 to 2 weeks as best practice. And this can be done by adding 1 or 2 keywords to an existing ad, copy and posting it as a promoted only or organic tweet. Keep in mind, that our ad system favors tweets that are fresh, which is one of the key components, relevancy, in the quality score that I went over today. What is the best way to target the followers of specific companies? Is that follower lookalikes? Great question again. Since we can't, right, perfect. So I'll repeat the question. What is the best way to target the followers of specific companies? Is that follower lookalikes? What you can do is pull and leverage relevant targeting with audience features such as handles and follower lookalikes, keywords, conversation topics. And yes, as you mentioned, follower lookalikes is a great way to search for specific companies. But if you want to take a deeper dive, you can also add in keywords and interests. And you can also expand your audience to capture the similar audience and similar characteristics of that specific audience that you're hoping to target. And if you're looking for help with targeting, we have really great resources that we'd be happy to provide you. So you can reach out to us anytime and we could provide you with specific lists with tailored audiences. Okay. Question. After your campaign is live, you've realized you've made a mistake. Can you go back and correct the ad, or would we have to start over from scratch? You can change a website card after it's been created, but once a tweet has been published, there's really no ability to edit it, but you can always delete the tweet and retweet it again, repost it. Do amplified pre-roll video ads have a call to action button, or is it pure brand awareness? Amplified pre-roll does have the option to add a call to action, but the primary goal of this objective is brand awareness. We'd recommend a video website card if your primary focus and goal is to really drive link clicks to your website. What is the minimum investment you recommend in order to start running campaigns on Twitter? We do not have a minimum to start advertising on Twitter, and campaigns will adapt to whatever budget works for you. If your budget is $10 a day, you can set your budget to whatever works for you. However, if you want to learn about the benchmarks in your brand's vertical, we could provide you with those averages just to see what works best and how to really align with your specific vertical and be competitive. You mentioned campaigns can compete when using the same targeting. Can multiple ads with unrelated messaging compete within the same ad set, meaning unnecessarily drive up cost per clicks? Your ads won't necessarily compete against each other within the same ad set, and Twitter will always optimize for the best performing creative. Can you please explain more how bidding affects my ad? Bidding basically lets you set how much you're willing to pay to advertise your ad once. Ideally, how much money you've placed on your ad in the auction. Having too low of a bid can stop your campaigns from serving, So we usually recommend automatic bid. That way you're always serving and paying the lowest amount the market is paying to advertise. Are there any new criteria for Twitter to halt ad campaigns, content mentioning COVID, etc.? Twitter prohibits all mentions of COVID-19 in the ad creative, including the tweets, including the hashtags, tweet copy, images, URL landing pages, all of everything for paid media. This also includes targeting COVID-19 in the audience features, such as the keywords, conversation topics, handles. What we do allow is promotions of the brand responses to the virus if there is no specific COVID-19 mention in the ad copy. We also have this available on our policy page of exactly what is and what is not allowed on our platform. All right, I can answer two more questions. You mentioned recency as a component of quality score. How does Twitter decide the freshness of an ad unit in flight? You want to be sure that you're refreshing your tweets every 2 weeks to ensure that you're promoting fresh content, because our auctions do reward up-to-date tweets. If your existing tweet was performing well and you wanted to continue promoting it, you can recreate the same tweet to refresh the tweet, and it'll have our auction system recognize this as a brand new tweet. So that's kind of like a workaround. We do recommend pausing your tweets if they are outdated or irrelevant. All right. Our last question, are you able to do a combination of in-stream and app installs? Yeah, you definitely can. You could create 2 campaigns with the separate objectives, but it can be considered a full funnel marketing, and it can be considered a full funnel marketing strategy where the in-stream acts as an awareness push for the video, and then the app install campaign is the consideration and conversion section. All right, thank you all so much for joining us today. You can always reach out to us at advertiserhelp@twitter.com, and we'd be more than happy to provide you with any resources and answer any questions that you have. We really look forward to hearing from you, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining us.